Is this your husband's tobacco pouch?
I'm not sure. It might be, but he hadn't smoked in a very long time.
Your husband's private papers. Do you know where they are?
There was a small tin box, barely larger than a book. He kept his papers there. It should be somewhere in his cabin.
Thank you, madam. This place, an object was taken from here. It was larger than a book, a box or a small chest, but... These locked.
What am I doing here? I've done nothing wrong.
Locked. These are the suspect's belongings. These abbreviations. A pocket. A handkerchief. These abbreviations. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. My analysis table. It is useful for my work.
Good gracious, you caught someone. At least now you have a suspect.
This is where I keep my post. My archive. I can always consult with it if needed. Brave Toby, the best nose in the British Empire. A map of life. These footprints appear to be quite large. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. Someone drank. Rum, a sailor's drink. Rum. The tooth of a sperm whale, probably from one of Peter Carey's catches. This place is not covered. An object was taken from here. It was larger than a book, a box or a small... It seems that the garden...
Mr. Holmes?
Locked.
What?
Locked. These are the suspect's belongings. A pocket knife. A pocket knife. A handkerchief. These abbreviate. My archive. Old navigation. The Sea Unicorn. She was the ship that Peter Carey commanded. The tooth. The tooth. The tooth. It seems that the garden was well maintained.
Who could do such a thing? My poor husband.
It seems that the garden was well maintained. It seems that the garden was well maintained.
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
These are the suspect's belongings. These abbreviations mean something, but what? A handkerchief. A handkerchief with the initials JHN. A pocket knife. It was used to force the door of Peter Carey's cabin. To my friend, Dawson. I've seen this name before. Perhaps my archive holds the answer. The police seized this valuable ring from you. Whose is it?
I didn't steal it from anyone. It has always belonged to me.
The ring's date of engraving is many years ago. You would have been a child then, hardly in any position to receive such an item from a partner. So, Mr. Nelligan, who is the true owner of the ring?
The ring is mine.
No, Mr. Nelligan. I believe that the ring had belonged to your father.
Oh, but how do you know?
The jacket you are wearing is made of an expensive fabric that only a man of exceptional wealth could afford. You do not seem to me to be a rich man, Mr. Nelligan. Furthermore, the garment is ill-fitting. It is quite clear that it belonged to someone else, most probably your father. With your father gone and taking with him the family's wealth, as a little boy you had to find yourself a manual job, and it was most probably cleaning fish. You cut your hands often while working. I can tell from the scars.
I'm speechless, Mr. Holmes. It all happened exactly as you say.
Well, I will see you soon, young man. That is not the one I need. Here it is. Now I begin to understand that young man's story, but I am still unclear as to what connects him with the murder. It is time to ask him. My archive. I can always consult with... I have heard the story of Dawson and Nelligan, the West Country bankers.
Yes, Joshua Nelligan was my father.
I am aware that it had a bad ending. When the bank failed, it ruined half the families of Cornwall, whereupon Joshua Nelligan disappeared.
My father was under extraordinary pressure. Dawson had retired. I was only 10 years of age at the time, but it was still old enough to feel the shame that befell our family. My father was convinced that he could pay off all his debts if the creditors gave him time. He set sail for Hammerfest in Norway in his small yacht just a few days before an arrest warrant was issued. He left my mother a list of the securities he was taking. No word was ever heard from him again. We believed that his vessel went down, taking with it everyone and everything on board.
Thank you for the story, Mr. Nelligan. At last, we are making some progress. Interesting. Joshua Nelligan and Peter Carey were both at sea in Norway. There is definitely some connection between Peter Carey and Joshua Nelligan's disappearance.